tell us something more about yourself and your company?
I'm LEI Motilla. I'm the Social Innovation Lead and Co-founder at AI4GOV. Hindi po ako nag-iisa. We're a team na multidisciplinary and, as you see, very tech-savvy. So, multidisciplines po. So, we have myself, ang akin pong heart is nasa development talaga. So, social development. And then we have computer scientists, computer engineers, statisticians, data scientists, political scientists, and also communication specialists. So yun po yung team na nagko-compose, digital transformation, and syempre yung application ng AI sa public services. So yun po yung background ng team.
How did you become an entrepreneur?
So syempre po, may tatlong elements whenever I get asked this question. Mauuna muna, syempre when we start young, especially pag hindi ka naman nanggagaling sa hindi ka pinanganak na privileged, ganyan, simpleng buhay lang. Syempre sa umpisa, hindi ka pa confident, ganyan, mag-aaral ka munang mabuti. So that's how I started. No? I wasn't born in a privileged family. Syempre, aral muna. Aral muna sa UP, talagang pag-expand muna ng knowledge and skill set. At doon naman ako na in love talaga sa field ng development. No? Kasi para sa UP nga, di ba? Para sa bayan, mula sa tao, para sa tao. So my values and my skill set is really about facilitation. So nandun ako nag-umpisa. And then moving forward, it's leadership. So youth leadership. So you would have seen in my profile na I became active in the youth leadership sector, in the regional youth leadership sector afterwards. And sumunod na doon is yung entrepreneurship. So at DSWD, I was part of the Sustainable Livelihood Program. So I've been to many communities, been with many MSMEs, and I've seen kung ano din yung realities in entrepreneurship in many different classes. No? And I've also studied social entrepreneurship thanks to the US State Department po, no, yung YSEALI program sa states. So again, honing yung entrepreneurial skill set and eventually being exposed to Fourth Industrial Revolution with my stint in Singapore. And from there, doon na ako mas lalong namulat na bakit dito sa Singapore kapag ikaw ay naglalakad, talagang ang mga banners, are you ready? Are you future ready? It's about data, it's about upskilling, it's about AI. Pero when you walk dito sa streets in the Philippines, walang conversations pa about this. O wala pa sa kalye, kumbaga. So sa consciousness, medyo hilaw pa. So as an entrepreneur, so ngayon, pagko-combine mo na yung elements na yon. Development at the heart of it, an element of leadership, an element of entrepreneurship and social innovation, and then plus in the backdrop, in the landscape of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and these new emerging technologies. So as an entrepreneur, syempre, it's always times 10, diba, steps forward for you to see an opportunity and how might we build solutions that addresses the problems that we are seeing. So dun po yun na nanggagaling, no? At syempre, yung special ingredient din nun is during my involvement, my engagement in DSWD, pag nasa labas ka kasi minsan madaling i-judge yung government, 'di ba? Na mabagal, na ganito. Pero pag nasa loob ka, you would see and you will always be inspired. Katulad po na nakikita ko kayo ngayon na yung dedication in public service, hindi mo matatawaran. May mga kasama ka, iba-ibang ages, no? Mga batang public servant na talagang hype at energized na energized. At nandiyan naman yung mga seasoned na mga tita at tito natin na talaga lagi ka ring ma-amaze dun sa knowledge ng pasikot-sikot sa processes, paano lulusot, paano magpapasikot-sikot sa policies, and yung combination sa together. So one of the things that was frustrating me when I was still inside the government was ang daming value na pwedeng ma-unlock. Pero bakit ang daming constraints? Bakit ang hirap pang i-adopt yung mga technologies, mga processes na nakikita natin na nag-emerge na outside, no, sa private sector, sa commercial sector. So dito po nagbo-brew yung mga ideas of, why can't we catalyze these solutions in a way na hindi na lang incremental development, pero transformational, mas mabilis, accelerated. So that is one of the motivations of why we had to start building initiatives such as AI4GOV in order to serve that purpose, no? May mga catalyst entity na magtatawid or tutulong magtawid. So ang AI4GOV, hindi po siya parang yung usual na IT management service or contractor, kasi hindi yun yung fit for the public sector. So kaya po yung ginagawa namin ngayon is we're forming a new kind of startup na nakafit talaga sa needs ng public sector at sa realities ng public sector. Kasi nandun yung policy part, yung people part, nandyan yung organizational processes, the power dynamics, the political dynamics. So lahat ng to, ito yung layers na not necessarily the same sa commercial sector. So yun po yung mga pinanggagalingan or mga pinaguhugutan na inspiration at bakit iba rin yung AI4GOV sa startup community.
How did you select the opportunity?
Syempre po, halo yun na you're betting on a future that you think is going to happen. Syempre, we don't know everything, pero when you look at the landscape, so ang mga nakikita na, at least at the time when we started, may mga drivers. Nandun yung technology driver. So at this age, nasa mainstream na yung AI and new technologies, blockchain, etc. So kapag ka nag-project ka into the future, these emerging technologies are definitely inevitable. Syempre sa ngayon may resistance, matagal pa yung adoption, pero if you project into the future, this is highly inevitable. So therefore, isang opportunity na po kaagad yun. And then you look at the problem. So ano ba yung types of industries na hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin nauusad ng mas mabilis than the immediate market. So isa dyan, yung public sector. Dahil nga, nako-constrain tayo ng may policy, mas mahirap gumalaw, mas hindi equipped in adopting sa changes. So yun po, no? Kasi I'm sure during your lessons, you have encountered the term VUCA. We are living in a VUCA world, or volatile, uncertain, chaotic, ambiguous. So dito sa ganitong landscape na ginagalawan natin ngayon, dapat mabilis and agile yung adoption. At sa ngayon, that's a problem. Hindi ganun kabilis mag-adopt ang public sector or ang government sector. So you have that opportunity, the technology, inevitable technology changes, and then nandyan yung problem as well. So sino ngayon yung servers nung market na yon? Sino ngayon yung mga part of the market who is serving that demand, or solving that problem? So kapag tinignan namin sa perspective ng team, wala pa po masyadong models that addresses that directly. Meron tayo mga proxy, halimbawa IT management services, halimbawa data firms. So, pero hindi pa yung kabuuan. Meron ka rin na may design firms. So sa AI4GOV, we thought, bakit di natin pag-combinein? So you have your design team, service design, you have your data team, mga analysts, mga data scientists, and you also have your IT team who can do the automation, the data engineering backend. So we combine this together to serve as catalyst. Plus, yung nasa puso po nun is we do have a unique perspective and a unique motivation kasi we have been, at least we've experienced also being inside the government as a team as well. So yun po yung mga bakit kami motivated at paano din namin napagdugtong yung opportunity, yung problem, and positioning ourselves as one of the solution makers dito sa space na to.
How did you come up with regards to research and development po ng company?
Yes, so nung una po, pre-pandemic, we have already started with our research. So yung research namin was really about muna sa usability ng bot systems as a way to engage citizens and to drive civic participation. So at that point, it was just an idea. It was a it was an inquiry kung pwede bang magamit. So we had signals na baka pwedeng magamit kasi when we ask our friends from the information offices, mga information offices ng government, ganyan, paano ba kayo nag-engage sa inyong citizens? And we were very surprised na a lot of them would say na it's through Facebook. It's through Messenger. So nung we did our ethnographic research as well sa community, sa Cavite, sa Carmona, it's the same, no? So what we did is, meron kaming design, papili tayo ng mga barangay na may highest poverty incidence, nasa middle, and then nasa higher end. So yun yung una namin. And then magagawa tayo dun ng randomized sampling, and then tatanungin natin sila ng very particular questions about, the channels by which they receive information, connectivity, their motivations, their issues, their problems, no? And then from there, we started to create a tool. So it's really more of a civic engagement tool. Magtatanong lang, ano bang gusto mo makita? Ano ba yung issues mo na nararamdaman mo sa community? And then, kung ito bang tool na to, itong chatbot, for example, sa palagay mo ba usable to? Mag-e-engage ka ba ulit? Kapag ka, kumbaga, public services is at your fingertips. So we used to say that at AI4GOV, we want to bring public services at your fingertips. And we were very surprised na napaka-positive ng reception dun sa tool that we have created. Mataas yung usability test. So we did have instruments. We did conduct system usability tests para merong backed by data. Hindi lang by, ay sabi ni ate, okay daw tong gamitin, no? So it was, I think our score was like 86, 87. Ang global standards mo for that, I think it's just 69 for the average. So that's way above average. And then we did have a very good methodology na talaga naka-bulk, no? We have a bucket for youth below 20. We have a bucket for your yuppies. You have a bucket for like older, 50 above na types of users. So we did do that conduct. So yung mga yun na investment na research investment in before pre-pandemic, we were able to leverage all of that. Kasi when the pandemic came, hindi na kami takot to create the technology kasi meron na kaming earlier validation. So we just had to have a different use case for it. From surveying to triaging. So ganun po.
How did you acquire resources needed to launch and sustain and grow?
Siyempre, sa una po, talagang tataya ka ng sarili mong dugo at pawis, no? And one of the edges that we had then was we are young. So we were two, kami yung unang nag-take ng dive na magpo-full-time, and we had just about enough, 6 months. So we only gave ourselves 6 months. Okay, mag-try tayo ng 6 months. Kapag walang nangyari, we can't make it kasi we need to live. But since we were young, we were willing to take the risk. Bakit? So we thought about it in many dimensions. Una, naniniwala ba tayo na may totoong problema at may edge tayo? Yes. Pangalawa, can we accommodate yung risk? Yes, kasi we're in our early 20s. So sure, kapag walang nangyari, it's okay. Pangatlo, even if we fail, magagamit pa rin ba natin yung what we would learn to leverage forward? Yes. So then, kapag yun lang yung criteria namin for judging, it seemed to be like a no-brainer. Sure, we should give ourselves 6 months to go here. Kasi meron na kaming a little bit of traction din dahil nga we won the hackathon. So kahit papaano, meron kaming ile-leverage na, okay, we started this idea, may validation, baka mamaya we are lucky to get more support. So that was the only thing that we thought of early in the game. And then, yun nga po, true enough, nabiyayaan, for some reason, may mga unexpected kami na support na nakuha, like sa Asian Institute of Management. So nung binigyan kami ng pagkakataon doon, then we thought, okay, so may sasagot ng office, meron tayong mentorship na makukuha. So sige, mag full-time tayo for 6 months. So ganun po yun. And then eventually, yung 6 months sa'yo, we used it for research, for building. And then yun nga po, eventually we got our first client, our first service. And then from there, nagtuloy-tuloy na po. No? So syempre, as the hustler, ako ngayon yung maghahanap ng ako yung tagahanap ng projects and activities that would pay. And then eventually, nag-snowball na lang po yung mga pangyayari due to our ability to deliver, times 10 the value that is expected of us.
Do you have any affiliations also, or your industry association?
Yes po. Ngayon po, as professional, so we are part of the Analytics Association of the Philippines. So this is a group of people, the founders, who really believe in them as well. Kasi yung advocacy po to bring data maturity, data analytics sa Philippines, education, I think they're also one of the teams behind Project Spartan and UST. So we really believe in them. Kaya yung AI4GOV is affiliated also with the Analytics Association of the Philippines. So aside from that, syempre po, in tangent with the Avast Foundation, since I'm part of the Youth Leadership Board at Avast Foundation, so isa yun, in tangent lang.
But how do you network with other government, non-government, or local, and even academic agencies?
To be frank, it's really word of mouth. So word of mouth lang po talaga. So sometimes, dahil nga marami rin kami nakikilala through our work, and I guess maganda yung relationships that we are building because of how we are also as innovators, then yun, nagre-refer refer lang po. And then sa ngayon, yun, dumadami yung referral. So, and then we don't say no. So ganun lang po. So walang active na we don't send to agencies, hey, try us, ganyan. Kasi we believe na people-to-people connections, nandun talaga yung power. So hindi naman people-to-people na, it's more meritocracy pa din, but at least knowing kasi na your values are different also makes a difference kasi in how you deliver it. And the way that we see it, hindi kami nag-aantay ng terms of reference o ng transaction. It's never a transaction for us. So sa amin, may requirement o wala, we would propose an interesting innovation on how, we are sa process ng empathy as well, co-ownership. And then kapag it makes sense to the partner, then it's a collaboration. No? So, syempre, we can't offer the world, but we can offer interesting solutions na low cost, na, depende ko nasaan din yung organization sa maturity, maybe sa technology part or sa data part.
Can you please give us a brief description of the business model of AI4GOV?
So for our business model po, we have 3. So it's B2G in terms of dun sa formal terminologies, B2G. Pero in terms of our services, meron kaming 3, which is yung AI ready. So dito yung gusto mong ma-unlock ang power ng AI or data science, pero hindi ka pa ready, wala ka pang infrastructure. So that's AI ready. So we will bring you to the process. We will show to you paano ba umpisahan tong mga nimble types of automation na sakto lang, no? Kasi dapat nag-umpisa rin tayo sa data culture eh. Hindi lang yung presence ng advanced technology, but also dapat nandun din yung people na part, yung data culture na part. Kasi otherwise, i-reject ng people yung technology and yung data processes na mag-unlock ng value na gusto natin ma-unlock sa transformation process. And then susunod po is yung AI forward. So AI forward means nahihimas-masa na yung mga tao, na-appreciate na nila na, ay, okay pala to, hindi na ako mag-Excel sheet, ganyan. Ay, okay pala to, hindi na yung mga manual part na re-resolve na natin, mas efficient na tayo. And then, yun nga po, sa AI Advantage, dito na natin mas makikita na, ay, pwede pala yung responsive yung aking services dahil naiintindihan ko na paano paano mapipiga yung value from the data that I have. So dito, pwede na siguro akong gumamit ng omni-channel techniques.